Have you ever felt an inexplicable pull toward a place you've never been? Maybe you've always dreamed of visiting Ireland. Maybe you've spent hours looking at cabins in the mountains. Maybe the ocean feels like home, even if you've never lived near one. Or maybe there's a specific city you can't stop thinking about, even though you've never set foot there. If you've ever wondered why certain places seem to call to you, you're not alone. And while there are many reasons we feel connected to certain locations, astrology offers a fascinating perspective. Today, we're exploring why you may feel drawn to certain places, how astrocartography can help explain these connections, and why some locations seem to stay in our hearts long before we ever arrive. Let's dive in. Why do certain places call to us? Before we talk about astrology, let's talk about something almost everyone experiences. Most of us have at least one place that captures our imagination. Sometimes it's a country, sometimes it's a city, sometimes it's an entire landscape, and often we can't fully explain why. Maybe you've said things like, I've always wanted to go there. I feel connected to that place. I don't know why, but it just feels right. These attractions often happen long before we know anything about astrocartography. That's what makes them so interesting. The astrocartography perspective. Astrocartography suggests that different locations activate different energies within your birth chart. Certain places may align with relationships, career, creativity, growth, spirituality, transformation. When people discover that a place they've been obsessed with happens to sit on one of their strongest planetary lines, it's often a fascinating moment. Not because astrology proves anything, but because it provides a framework for understanding experiences many people already have. Why some people are drawn to Ireland. Let's use Ireland as an example. Ireland is one of the most commonly mentioned countries in astrocartography communities. People often say, I've always felt drawn there. I don't know why, but I feel connected to Ireland. I've never visited, but it feels familiar. For some people, this connection may correspond with moon lines, Neptune lines, Venus lines. These energies can create feelings of belonging, nostalgia, spirituality, beauty, and emotional connection. Of course, culture, ancestry, and personal interests can play a role too. Astrology isn't replacing those explanations, it's simply offering another lens through which to view the experience. Why some people love the mountains. Let's talk about the mountains. Some people feel completely alive in mountain environments. They crave solitude, nature, perspective, adventure. In astrocartography, these feelings may sometimes align with Jupiter energy, Saturn energy, Uranus energy. Jupiter encourages exploration and expansion. Saturn encourages resilience and self discovery. Uranus encourages freedom and independence. For some, mountains represent exactly the kind of growth their chart is seeking. Why the ocean feels like home. Now let's talk about the ocean. For many people, the ocean feels deeply healing. Even hearing waves can create a sense of calm. In astrology, ocean energy is often associated with Neptune or moon energy. Neptune governs dreams, intuition, spirituality, and imagination. The moon governs emotions and inner comfort. People with strong Neptune or moon themes may feel especially connected to coastal locations. Again, this doesn't mean everyone who loves the ocean has a Neptune line nearby, but it can be an interesting pattern to explore. Why certain cities feel magnetic. Sometimes it isn't a country or a landscape, it's one specific city. Maybe it's Seattle, New York, Nashville, London, Tokyo, and no matter what, you keep coming back to it. This is where astrocartography becomes especially interesting. Sometimes those cities sit near sun lines, Venus lines, Jupiter lines, or other significant planetary placements. Those locations may activate parts of your personality that feel especially important to your journey. You may feel more confident, more creative, more connected, more inspired when spending time there. But what if you've never been there? One of the most common questions I hear is, can I feel connected to a place I've never visited? Many people say yes. Some locations seem to capture our imagination long before we arrive. Whether that's because of culture, ancestry, personal interest, coincidence, or something deeper is open to interpretation. Astrocartography gives us another way to explore those feelings. A word of caution: it's important not to assume that a place is perfect simply because it appears favorable on a map. Every location contains opportunities and challenges. Astrocartography isn't about finding the one magical city that solves all your problems. It's about understanding the different experiences and energies that may be available in different places. What to do next? If there's a place you've always felt drawn to, I encourage you to get curious. Ask yourself, what do I imagine finding there? How do I feel when I think about it? What part of me comes alive when I picture that place? Sometimes the answers are just as important as the destination itself. Some final thoughts. The place that calls to us aren't always random. Sometimes they're connected to our memories. Sometimes they're connected to our dreams. Sometimes they're connected to our ancestry, our interests, or our desire for something different. And sometimes astrology offers another piece of the puzzle. Whether you're drawn to Ireland, the mountains, the ocean, or a city halfway around the world, those feelings are worth paying attention to. Not because a map tells you where to go, but because curiosity often points us towards experiences that help us grow. I'd love to hear from you. What's the one place you've always felt drawn to, even if you've never been there? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're curious what locations may be most significant in your own chart, I offer personalized astrocartography map readings through Wildflowers and Moonlight. Until next time, stay curious, trust your intuition, and remember, sometimes the places that call to us are invitations to discover something new about ourselves.